All right, good afternoon car rant. I got some things to talk about. But before I get started, let's talk about where you want to get refreshment if you're in recovery. Let's talk about a place that makes life easier, but also makes recovery easier. Spinx. Let me get some coffee this afternoon. Keep me going. I need all the energy I can get. All right. Well, and so if you need anything, if you're looking for gasoline or you're looking for refreshment or you just want to be around wonderful people, get your butt to a Spinx. And let me tell you this. If you are affiliated with Faber Greenville in any kind of way, and I find out that you visit anything other than a Spinx, retribution will be mine. Justice will be delivered swiftly and severely. All right, well, here's another thing, though. Like, in all seriousness, like when you compare, like, Spinx to hashtag QT sucks, here's what I know. One time, I had to go to a QT way back in the day. Like, I pulled in. I was running out of gas, so I drifted into a QT. There was no Spinx around. And I went in there, and I walked up to the freaking counter. Like, I got a candy bar or something. Walk up to the freaking counter, man. And the dude, the cashier dude, like, what is up with these QT dudes? Why don't they speak in complete sentences? The guy's like, is that all you want? You want a receipt? And I'm like, what? What did he just say? He said it again. Is that all you want? You want a receipt? And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, man. Well, the dude behind me, he must come to QT all the time because he speaks fluent QT. So he steps up and said, hey, let me translate. He just said, is that all you want? Can I get you anything else? You want a receipt? And I was like, oh, okay. No, I don't want a receipt. Well, the QT guy looked at me like, I don't understand what he's talking about. Translator had to come back up and say, who's what I want? No receipt. Guy at the QT went, okay. I assumed he was saying goodbye. I was like, I'm freaking out. Learn how to speak in a complete sentence. Hashtag QT sucks. All right, now let's move on to the real topic that we want to talk about today. The real topic, Thanksgiving is fast approaching. The holiday season, it's going to be a hallmark moment. Nothing but peace, love, and happiness. A Hallmark movie moment. But what's one thing that can get in the way? Well, of course, Uncle George getting hammered and passing out in the mashed potatoes because his medicine kicked in. That's something that can get in the way. But also another thing, there are certain subjects that you should not talk about at Thanksgiving. And we know some of them. Politics, religion, but I also want to let you know, recovery. Because apparently, recovery falls into that category now, too. If you have an opinion, it's not that you're just thinking it through and you're sort of analyzing things. Apparently, you're hitting people where it hurts. All of a sudden, like, my recovery has taken on this tone that's sort like people respond the same way as when you're talking about politics and religion. So it's like, okay, so here's the deal. Let me just give you a little bit of instruction, man. We'll role play a little bit so you know how to handle this. All right. So here you go. You're kind of sitting there. Let's start with, we'll start with politics. Sitting there, kind of everything's going fine. Everybody's enjoying their meal. Uncle George is passed out in the mashed potatoes because his medicine kicked in. And so you're sitting there and everything's fine otherwise. And all of a sudden somebody's like, what about Trump? Oh! You do not talk about it. And you're like, hey, stop, break it up. Whew. Got around that one. Next thing that comes up is religion. People are like, I know I got to go to church every Wednesday, every Sunday, every Tuesday. If I don't do that, I don't know if I'm going to make it. What? Did you just say my religion is not legit? Break it up. And let's add one to the mix. Number 3 is recovery. Let's role play that. Now understand, it might not be a problem unless there are other people in recovery there. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Oh, let me take other people in recovery who've done it different ways. They've gotten recovery different ways because we have to remember the facts are there are multiple pathways to recovery and 46% of people figure it out. Now they do things. It's not like they just like are sitting home one day and they get sober. That's not what happens. But they figure it out. There is no one way to do this thing. But let's say you're sitting there and you just, I don't know, for shits and giggles, you kind of say, man, I heard a lot of good stuff about that smart recovery thing. Wait, what? What did... Break it up, break it up, break it up, break it up. That break it up thing is like me. I'm the neutral person. Break it up. So what is going on? How do things go from a discussion to that next level? And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Politics is the best example. You know how hard it is to have a civilized conversation. What is that all about? Well, that is because it takes on a different tone. It literally starts to have to do, it's kind of identified almost with survival. In a political case, from a sociological perspective, it's related to tribalism. My tribe is more righteous than your tribe. From a religious point of view, that's very, very obvious. It has to do with salvation. It has to do with like some of the most basic human things. Now, when you talk about recovery, why would recovery be held that deeply? I think there's a couple different reasons. The most significant reason is if people perceived it helped them or saved their lives, you'll hear people say this, then obviously it takes on a deeper meaning, and they can get very defensive about it. The second thing is you are literally told this. You are literally told this by treatment professionals and other programs that there's one way to do it. And that is really the tragedy. The world has set us up. Those of us in recovery, we're set up for failure around disagreeing and kind of like debating this and looking at information because we've been told there's one way to do it, even by the medical professionals. Now, I just spent the day at the Drug and Alcohol Commission, Department of Alcohol and Other Drug Abuse Services, and fortunately what's going on is that there's some movement being made. Like, we're moving beyond that, but I'm telling you, like the recovering people, and especially people who work in the field, recovering or not, professionals, we have got to get out of our own way and stop acting like recovery is this one-size-fits-all solution. And fortunately, society is moving in that direction. Here's the thing, it's going to happen. And Favor Greenville is at the tip of the spear. We're pushing this stuff, multiple pathways to recovery. We love 12-step. We love smart recovery. We love medication-assisted recovery. We love people who figure it out on their own. I love people who stand on their head every morning for 45 minutes, and that's how they do the recovery. I buy them a pillow so that we can stick it under their head. All right. Now you know there's three things to not talk about: politics, religion, and recovery. Oh, there's one thing that we should all agree on and you can talk about. What is the greatest sports franchise in the history of mankind? The Pittsburgh Steelers Football Club. Happy Thanksgiving.